Can you read this? Frustrating, isn't it? You don't know if you're being invited to a party or warned of danger. You are in the shoes of a non-reader. Now let's try this. Think of the letter in the alphabet that follows each letter here. If only learning how to read were that easy for everyone. Tenny Mae Fitz lives in the south suburbs of Chicago. She had everything she wanted. She was a foster parent. She was a nurse. Until one day, she became the patient.
I was working in Presbyterian Hospital. I started there when I was 19 years old. And then I worked up until I was 30-some years at Presbyterian Hospital. But after I got sick, I wasn't able to do it. I had an aneurysm busted in my head, and also I had a cyst, and so that left me unbalanced, you know.
Tenny may not be a typical adult literacy student, but her needs are the same. Losing many of the skills allowing her to function to her full potential, Tenny knew she would have a long road of recovery ahead.
And I had received training. Well, it was kind of hard and difficult, you know, and for me being the age of person I am. And so I just really pressed hard on trying to get what opportunity that anybody was able to give me.
A few years ago, Tenny found out about the South Suburban College Adult Volunteer Literacy Program.
We go out into our community, into our local community, and service people in literacy.
The services include things of teaching them how to read, how to write. Basically, that's the #1 job. But in addition to that, they've added numeracy, which is dealing with numbers and math. And so that's another important piece.
Tenny was ultimately matched with Mary Gerken, a returning adult SSC student and a volunteer for the program. Their personalities clicked right away.
She had patience with the student and explained, you know, things that they didn't understand. I know what you do me, so I can remember a lot of things and be able to do my work.
She's so hardworking and willing to do anything to get better that I have really enjoyed working with her.
Mary and Tenny usually meet once a week. They work on hands-on activities to redevelop Tenny's life skills too, activities that many people take for granted.
I learned how to measure my food because before I just always dumped everything in it, and it sometimes didn't come out right, sometimes it did. But when I started to measure, we had good cupcakes and we made black bean soup, and it was very nice. That's 1 pound of fresh green bean.
Okay.
Salt and pepper.
Okay. Part of her recovery was getting back to cooking for herself. Other life skills are balancing a checkbook or getting the mail and realizing what's important and what's not, you know, all kinds of different things.
Our volunteers are the backbone of our program. Without them, we couldn't function.
You're going to help somebody move from nothing to something, or from little to more. And that's the key, is building the relationship, having a relationship like Mary and Tenny have. That you can't buy that. You have to build it from scratch. And the best tutoring happens when you build that relationship.
Mary learned a lot of the skills she'd need to successfully teach Tenny by reading the book Tutor.
It goes over anything that you may encounter while tutoring. It talks about how to first interact with your student, what basic things to set up in that first appointment, how to teach basic literacy to them. It is an all-encompassing book for tutoring.
2 years into the program at SSC, Matt discovered an interesting fact about the book they were using to train volunteers.
One of my students in my adult education class asked me, have any famous people ever gone to South Suburban College? So I knew we had a few baseball players, but I couldn't remember the names right off the top of my head. So I went up to our Wikipedia page, and on there it said Ruth J. Colvin. I'm like, Ruth Colvin? That's the woman who wrote our tutoring book. I have to find out more about this.
The mission of South Suburban College is to serve our students and the community through lifelong learning.
While researching successful alumni from South Suburban College, Matt Beaslin was astounded to find out about the author of the book, Tutor. This tool used to instruct volunteers in the Adult Volunteer Literacy Program was actually written by an alumni of Thornton Junior College.
Imagine a student that was there in the 1930s. Now you're using her book. I was delighted, absolutely delighted.
South Suburban College was known as Thornton Junior College when Ruth J. Colvin walked the halls as a student. She went on to become one of the first people to be proactive about illiteracy.
People say, "Did you work?" And I said, "Work for money or work for pleasure and for helping people?" I've worked all my life for helping people.
Wholeheartedly believing that having the ability to read, write, speak, and understand English allows people a better life. Ruth developed a new approach to train volunteers to teach adults and created Literacy Volunteers of America. The organization grew and eventually merged with Laubach Literacy to form Pro-Literacy, a national volunteer educational organization that has gained over 1,000 affiliates across America.
Now, her and Laubach are the two biggest people in literacy, so it's kind of like finding out that Michael Jordan played basketball at your local community college.
For us to have had somebody of that magnitude come here, attribute some of what she's learned and done from here into her life, and then to sponsor and begin an organization that was based on the whole idea of helping people become literate, that just blew me away.
What's really mind-blowing is Ruth's passion for this cause. With 16% of the world's population being non-literate, Ruth extended her work beyond borders, providing literacy training and empowering others to help fight illiteracy around the globe.
You can change the world just by volunteering, having an open heart and an open mind. She has set up literacy programs in countries worldwide. From South America all the way to Asia, she's been everywhere in the world setting up literacy programs, helping people get on their feet.
I have visited 62 countries, but we've worked in 26 developing countries. I have hundreds of stories of people, wonderful people, people around the world who have touched our lives.
I believe that when you live in a place, you form the mentality of that area. You bring with it the history, the different pieces of the life of the people that were here. So it's a pioneer kind of concept. So that's what Ruth was, and Ruth took that with her everywhere she went, that pioneering.
Her efforts to recognize and address a worldwide crisis have been noted with her induction into the National Women's Hall of Fame, along with presidential awards given to her throughout the years.
Ruth has received the Volunteer Action Award from President Reagan in 1987, as well as the Presidential Medal of Freedom Award in 2006 from President George W. Bush.
The Presidential Volunteer Action is for volunteer work, the outstanding people doing volunteer work in the country. But the Medal of Freedom is the top award they give to civilians, and I was honored.
Ruth still tutors today, and her legacy lives on at South Suburban College through Mary Gherkin and the rest of the volunteers of the Literacy Tutoring Program.
So we had Ruth Colvin, and we have Mary, and we have somebody from years ago, 70-some years ago, who was a graduate, and somebody who's a recent graduate.
I graduated from South Suburban College in May of 2011, and I started attending classes at Governor State.
She wants to get involved in education, and she hopes to become a teacher, and I think she'll be a great teacher. I really do.
Mary's also following in the footsteps of Ruth when it comes to being recognized for her literacy efforts. Ruth at the national level, and Mary at the local level. In 2012, Matt Beaslin nominated Mary for a Spotlight on Service Award through the Illinois Secretary of State office.
Only 10 tutors out of the 8,000 statewide received this award. So when we received this award, I was very happy because, Mary puts so much effort into what she does that, I thought, well, how could she not win? And it was great to see that the state back her up on that.
I think this award is so important to me because it affirms that I can make a difference in someone's life.
I'm proud of Mary, and I'm very happy to be with Mary, and I hope she get all the awards that she be able to get, by going and doing the work she's doing.
Okay. Oh, that was the whole 1.5 cups. Isn't that funny how that was different?
Because they bigger. See that? These
so
are bigger.
Smart, honey.
Okay.
For everything that Mary has offered to her and helped her with, Tenny has appreciated it and moved forward with it and moved on with her life and made it better.
Beautiful, Tenny. Beautiful.
Don't that look pretty?
Yes, it does. See? Told you that, girl.
We can have money, we can have a building, we can have good PR. But if we don't have good training to give to our tutors, to give to our students, that's why we're in business. So that's why I'm concerned. Students are the most important people in our organization.
Jenny is only one person out of roughly 2 million in Illinois who are unable to read above a 5th grade level. But she's already on her way toward a brighter future and has a very important message for others who may want to take advantage of this free program.
I will ask them to go and get tested so they can be placed with for tutoring or either be placed in a class that they can able to help themselves and be able to do things on their own without having someone to help them all the time.
What I would say to them is, please walk through the door. We will take you the rest of the way. We will help you get the skills that you need.